Ladies and gentlemen, Premier League predictions. Game week 26. Game week 25. It was just me. We had kind of a longer, more drawn out game week with a couple of doubled up fixtures. Very interesting week for fantasy football. This week a little bit shorter for game week 26. A couple of teams not playing. I think Carabao Cup is going to take a huge chunk out of that, and then there's European football. There's all sorts going on as well. I will say before we get rolling, please like, share and subscribe and do all that really good stuff. We would really, really appreciate it. James and I are obviously always keen to hear feedback and all sorts of good stuff as well. Want to get content that you guys want to see as opposed maybe sometimes to the same old stuff. James, welcome back, first of all. How's it going?
I'm tired, really tired.
Yep.
Woke up from a quick nap. Just here, guys, for you, committed as always.
big smiles all around. Guys, let's have a little look back at game week 25. And yeah, you might be seeing some double-digit numbers down the bottom. That's because James and I have actually done okay this week. It does help the fact that there were 2 extra games for us to pick up points. You and I actually both picked up a point for the extra game, James, on the City-Brentford game and the Liverpool-Luton game. Both of us calling Man United-Luton 2-1. I won't lie to you, that felt like the most likely result. I don't think we were expecting it maybe to happen so quickly, and then no goals in the second half, but 2-1 Man United was about right. James calling the 1-1 Everton Palace, very, very impressive. And then the Forest West Ham result. Good. I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit for only getting 1, 2, 3 results wrong over the entire game week. I'm genuinely pretty impressed, pretty proud of that. Where you hit very well. 3 correct results. Obviously, just wondering for you, anything that major kind of stuck out for you there? I mean, obviously Arsenal's win was pretty heavy as well. Brighton also putting a bunch against Sheffield United. City looking a little bit 50-50. What did you think?
I think the City results kind of stand out, but as you can see there, Jack, I had it 1-1, didn't have them really blown them away.
Right.
Wolves beating Spurs, Jack, that was massive. That was that was one that no one really kind of seen coming, especially with Spurs' just form lately, and then the fact that they're getting players back, that kind of shocked us just a little bit.
Well, guys, James and I both got the same score. So one thing we can guarantee is in terms of a difference between me and James, it doesn't change a single thing. James still has that slender 1-point lead going into game week 26. Guys, probably going to be a much shorter video this time around because we only have a handful of fixtures compared to the usual slate of games. But James, we'll get rolling with you first. Crystal Palace at home to Burnley. Palace, little dodgy recently, little in and out, obviously dealing with a lot of injuries, lots happening with the manager position as well. The name of the manager, he was at Frankfurt, is escaping me at the moment, but him coming in, Roy Hodgson leaving, how much of an impact is that going to have? I guess for you, well, you think they're going to win it?
Well, the reason why I have Palace winning is, Jack, they just have players that are capable of just producing moments. And it might be just a moment, maybe 2 times a season, but they have it. Andre Ayew is so frustrating because Jack, he has the ability to score the spectacular. We've seen it, Jack, against Everton, and I just believe that they have the players just that can do something out of nothing. This game, I can just see it being a boring, frustrating game. Not really much happening there, but both teams will create opportunities. But I just think Palace just have that individual nous that Burnley really, really lack. So I just see them being able to get a 2-1 win.
I'm really scared of the new manager bounce. Definitely, I'm not going to try and ignore that at all. But for me, I just think that I can't trust this Palace team. And with the likes of Eze and Elise either not fully fit or not playing at all, I just think that that's such a major loss at home or away. That's a problem. And I think Burnley can be at times cute enough to just get a result. So for me, couldn't see this going either way. I can even see Burnley winning this one. So difficult game for me to pick, so I've kind of cheated a bit and just gone for the 1-1. Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Yeah, look, I think Villa are going to get back somewhat to winning ways. I know dealing with some injuries, some slightly poorer performances of late, and again, maybe, we've talked about this with a bunch of teams, Brighton in particular earlier in the season. Once you start getting a bit of respect, James, the oppositions come at you differently. And it's you want to be a big team, you want to be a successful team, well, here's how teams are going to play you. They're going to start approaching you a little bit differently. Maybe they won't give you the space that you need in behind for a fast team like Aston Villa. So again, I'm just not saying upset alert, but I think Forest do have players who are capable of creating, as you said with the Palace Burnley game, moments, being able to change things, all this kind of stuff. I'm going to say, generally speaking, they get back on track. A couple of big names coming back from injury, like Luka Digne and stuff like that, coming back into the fold. I think Tyrone Mings might now be back into the fold as well. So I think Villa get somewhat back on track with a little bit more of a statement win against Forest 3-1. 3-0, very convincing for you, much the same as me.
Yeah, Jack, I think Villa just, with that shock Manchester United win, it kind of puts them in a weird position right now, because Jack, before they were shooing it, and now it's like they're really looking over their shoulder because Man United are coming. But I like to think in a game like this at home, where like they've had a really good record this year, maybe players like Ollie Watkins and Bailey can just get themselves going again. So yeah, I just see it being a nice, easy win for them.
Almost like we planned it. Manchester United segue. Manchester United at home against Fulham. I can't remember. It's either Villa or it's Fulham, but I think Manchester United have like the best record against these teams. It's like a guaranteed W. 2-1 for me, James. This feels like just the result Man United are going to get. Going into every game week, unless they come up against an actual half-decent team. They've been very blessed and very lucky to have a pretty easy run of fixtures, if we can call it what it is. Maybe that Villa game, not so much, but I think generally speaking, this Manchester United team, the way I would sum it up is they can lose to anybody, but James, I truly believe they can beat anybody too. They are in a bit of a purple patch at the moment. Rasmus Højlund is being fed. You can see a little bit of a relationship building between that kind of front three all working together. Luke Shaw missing out, I think, is a really, really big deal for this team as well. But again, James, like with a lot of these games going in, at the moment, until proven otherwise, I'm going to pick Man United to win by a goal in a game where they concede and they score. So to me, 2-1 at home against Fulham sounds about right. Little more convincing for you. Have you got a bit more faith in this Manchester United team?
I feel like I mentioned Villa looking over their shoulder. Manchester United are coming, and then in Jack right now, we just look at them right now. A lot of players in form. Kobbie Mainoo is coming in and like really changed a lot with this Manchester United team. Højlund was laughing stock now. Jack, I don't know, he scored 6-7 goals, and Jack, he probably is looking at maybe I can back 20 this season. Garnacho's playing on. Rashford's been in and out, but he still has that individual brilliance there. Fulham on the other hand, 1 win in 5, not really great. Manchester United are unbeaten in their last 5 games and also have 4 wins in that period, Jack. And they're looking at Spurs right now in that 5th place, thinking a win and maybe Spurs mess up a right level on points with them. And I just see them just being able to, just like, to me, I just look at the confidence of the team right now. That's what, to me, that's why I have that big of a score. I think the way the team's playing right now, and Jack, the confidence of the team, I can see them having a comfortable performance.
Moving on, South Coast, a team who, again, we've given a lot of praise on, but then we've also been really disappointed with in different times this season. Brighton bringing Everton to town. Obviously, we know what kind of season they've had with the points deduction and all sorts going on with that. Don't think we've heard the end of that story, by the way. Brighton versus Everton. Look, I've gone for a draw here. I think a lot of people might look at Brighton at home and know what they are potentially capable of in terms of racking up the goals, and think that maybe they'll just comfortably win this game. And James, I'll be honest, a little surprised by your results. So I'm really interested in speaking to you about this game. I do think that Everton will be able to nullify this Brighton team. I don't think Everton are afraid at all or worried about how they look as they're playing at the moment. All they want to get is these results. That's all they're trying to push for and all they're trying to get. And generally speaking, if we go back through the game weeks, Everton are, on the most part, probably outperforming maybe where you think they should be. So for me, 1-1 draw. I wasn't as bold to go for the Everton victory, but similar to Palace Burnley, James, I think any team can win this, or this could be a draw. You've got Everton going away from home and winning. Why do you think Brighton won't be able to score?
Because Everton in the last 3 games away to Brighton are unbeaten. Jack, last season, if you remember, as great as Brighton were, they did lose 5-1 to Everton. I just see with Brighton this year is that good, bad, good, bad. I feel like they're just kind of in the middle. Yeah, Jack, they're this team that's going to be going into Champions League, and then they kind of crash out Europa League, Conference League. There's no real consistency there, and Jack, that's also due to what's going on in Europe for them. I look at Everton, they need something, Jack. Yeah, they were able to get a point against Crystal Palace, which was needed. Set pieces, Jack, is going to be massive. I think Everton scored like 52% or 51% of their goals from set pieces. I see this being a game that Everton are going to try and frustrate Brighton as much as possible, and then maybe nick a goal from a set piece.
Yeah, look, I hear you on that. And again, based on the history, and again, this is the key benefit that James does with his predictions that I don't do with mine, looking back at the history. And again, sometimes, guys, people watching who played Sunday League or six-a-side, there's that team you play where you don't know why, it just doesn't work.
And another quick weird thing, in the last 6 games, between Everton and Brighton, the away team has failed to win.
That's mad as well. Ooh, okay, so that kind of backs up a little bit. Bournemouth, Man City. Haaland, I mean, he scored, obviously, against, who was that against? Was that Brentford? Scored against Brentford, but over a double game week. I know fantasy football was going crazy over Erling Haaland. Wasn't as big as maybe I thought it would be. 3-1 for both of us. James, you want to take this away?
Me just looking at the last 3 games: 6-1 Man City, 4-1 Man City, 4-0 Man City, 2-1 Man City, 3-1 Man City. It's a game that Man City have absolutely dominated. They haven't lost yet to Brighton. Bournemouth haven't even picked up a point against this Manchester City team. It's been all City wins since Jack, since 2015. Nothing's gonna change. The question is how many City's gonna score. 3-1. I was maybe thinking 4-1, but yeah, I'll be happy to stick with 3-1. Couple Haaland goals in there, maybe in also maybe a Phil Foden goal.
Yeah, I back City massively. Again, I fully expect City to be caught on the break by Dominic Solanke or somebody like that. That's where the Bournemouth goal I can see coming from for sure. Still some defensive issues that I think City certainly need to address. But generally speaking, I think that, yeah, this is an easy win for them. Home, away, this is a fixture they should be wrapping up nice and easy. James, of course, I will let you go first. Your Arsenal against Newcastle United. Newcastle United team with a technical director of football, sporting director, CEO, whoever, on gardening leave, apparently, in Dan Ashworth with his acquisition at the moment. 2-1 for me, 2-0 for you. No kind of goal threat for you from Newcastle.
I think Newcastle will threaten, but I just feel like once we can get that early goal. Last year, if you guys remember when Newcastle came there, they made the game sloppy, slow, stopped Aston from playing the rhythm, or the game was terrible. And maybe Newcastle are going to try and do that. Even even the game at St James's Park was very, very similar. But at the Emirates, with the way Arsenal's been in the league so far, Jack, in in the last 2 games or last 3 games, we scored 14 goals, 11 goals in our last 2. Granted, like the performance against Porto wasn't good, but maybe Jack, that will give the boys a little bit more vim to go out there and like perform, and also just to stay in that title race right now, because Liverpool don't look like dropping points. I like to think that we can make it comfortable with an early goal, so 2-0.
I was going to potentially ask you about that. So Trossard started, but doesn't usually start. Is that fair to say? Kivior, I believe.
Well, Jesus has been out, and Trossard has come in at this moment of time, and also Kai Havertz, and it just seemed to work. We're scoring goals, no complaint. We went through a period, even with Jesus in the team, where Jack, we failed to score goals. Jesus isn't in the team right now. We're scoring goals. I don't want to talk about the Porto game because that wasn't terrible. Good. But let's concentrate on the league right now.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. I watched 60 minutes of that and switched it off. I was a bit of a dead game, to be honest with you. Wolves, Sheffield United. Look, 2-1 for me. Again, I understand Mateus Cunha is a bit of an X factor and does stuff, and it's a big miss and all this kind of stuff. But this Sheffield United team is not pretty. It really is not pretty. And again, I think Wolves, especially at home, would just be able to get it done. Given Sheffield United a goal, because again, I don't massively trust Wolves defensively, although I do have a good amount of respect for the likes of, Kilman and Jose Sa, I think, is a good goalkeeper as well. But I just can't see Sheffield United getting a draw or points. Realistically, he's going to be at home against one of the promoted teams or a team playing horribly. I'm really never going to give Sheffield United a win in these kinds of predictions. James, clean sheet and just the 1 goal for you in that Wolves encounter. What do you make of that?
One word, Jack, quality. Cunha, Pedro Neto, just that bit of X factor that Wolves have. That
I will say, obviously,
like
Cunha is out for the season. I will say though.
Yeah. So to me, I just look at it from the point of view of just that X factor quality, and also games are run now for Sheffield United, Jack. And I do believe players, they are low key thinking, yeah, a time might be up in the Premier League, Jack, because the quality is too high. And I granted what they're able to do the first time that they came up was impressive, but teams have kind of figured them out, and it's not hitting the way it hit the first time, Jack.
No, and again, I'm so bored of them. I know I feel bad. Any Sheffield United fans, I feel bad for you, but I'm not changing the way I feel about this. Like, I'm so sick of your team. West Ham versus Brentford. Yeah, West Ham, interesting. Some comments from David Moyes recently about, maybe West Ham fans need to be a little more grateful, which again, I can't disagree with him, especially given the injuries that they've had of late, and obviously the recent success with a European trophy. And being a bit more, generally speaking, a more competitive team, selling a star asset but replacing very, very well. I don't know. There's stuff going on under the boil there with West Ham United, and I just think there's stuff bubbling away under the surface. I just wonder what impact that's going to have. Whereas Brentford, Ivan Toney, I think it's a really good game after a couple tough fixtures for this Brentford team. Maybe for them to get right with a slightly easier opponent, pick up a quote unquote shock away win, 2-0 for me, beating West Ham United. James, 2-2 for you, quite a competitive game. What is that?
Both teams are not convincing. Is Ivan Toney's come back into the Premier League, and Jackie, to be fair, he's continued where he left off. He's scoring goals, but hasn't really changed much for Brentford overall, Jack. 1 win in 5, and granted, listen, when you play Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, and they actually played Manchester City twice. I understand that, but still, the spark hasn't really been there as much in West Ham. On the other hand, you mentioned the fans being ungrateful. I totally agree with you there. What David Moyes has done to this team, what he's brought to this team, he brought them a trophy, Jack. If a lot of West Ham fans, if you offered them a trophy, they'll bite your hand off for it. He brought them that European trophy, and he took them to a semi-final of the Europa League. And with all these injuries, for them to be this competitive, big up to them. I just see this being a kind of stalemate where, Jack, you got players like Jarrod Bowen there, Kudus there. On the other hand, you have like Ivan Toney, players who can make a difference. I just seen this game just goals, but just being a stalemate. So 2-2 for me.
Guys, let us know what you think. Obviously, we're powering through these Premier League fixtures, and again, most exciting thing for me, relegation places are not set in stone yet. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 teams, but generally speaking, we don't know who it's going to be. European places, we have no idea. And the most exciting thing, the title, we have no idea, which is amazing. Drop your predictions in the comments. Drop a like on the video if you like what you've seen. If you want to see more as well, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, me and James, we will see ya.